Hi everyone, I'm Hariraj, CEO at NWORX, a B2B SaaS platform that's disrupting the professional development space as we know it. In our last conversation in the Leadership Studio, we spoke about embedded professional development. We spoke a bit about what are the key elements of embedded professional development, what are some of the complexities associated with it. I think in professional development and specifically in leadership development, there have been a major era of content-based solutions and classroom-based solutions. I believe that era is at an end. It's not to say that there will not be any more of in-person sessions or workshops. No, that's not what I mean. But programs that are designed only with content in mind and programs that are only designed with a classroom facilitation in mind, I think that age is coming to a close. I think we are seeing this big advent of executive coaching as part of formal leadership development programs. But I think my own take here is that aspect of online coaching being the one primary method of formal leadership development also is, honestly, it's a transient phase in itself. I do believe we will see more and more of formal leadership development as well as professional development in general happening through this approach of embedded professional development. What does that mean? In simple terms, professional development that's completely integrated and embedded into everyday work of a professional or everyday work of a leader or a manager. I also think this is an opportunity for every service provider and solution provider out in this market, as well as the thousands of creators who are coming out in the gig economy and attempting to disseminate their knowledge, attempting to really help fellow professionals, followers, help them through their respective disciplines. I think this approach of embedded professional development will also be the holy grail for most of those creators and most of those leading professionals, leading service providers in this space. But then the big question is, how do you make this kind of an approach available to everyone who wants to disseminate information, who wants to essentially help develop fellow professionals? We'll speak to that. But before I step into that, I think what has been very interesting is I was reading this article from Josh Bersin, arguably one of the most well-known voices in the HR and HR tech space. Josh has been a voice, an oracle, if you will, in terms of predicting some of the trends that come up in the HR space and HR tech space for years now. And he has been speaking about the arrival of disruptive technology in the professional development space almost before most of these technologies actually become mainstream. What has been interesting is that I think now in the last few years, I think I see a lot more enterprises across the world are paying attention to technologies that enable professional and leadership development. Now, very interestingly and very recently, Josh has spoken about online coaching becoming an integral part of leadership development. And this is the recent phase that I was referring to earlier. He speaks about how a new generation of technology-based products and platforms make two things possible. One, democratize the online coaching for the masses. Earlier, executive coaching was considered an elite development method for organizations that are willing to invest significant dollars per hour into talent development and leadership development. Now, thanks to some of these technology products, coaching is becoming a very cost-effective development method, running at anywhere between $50 per session to $200 per session. Thanks to companies such as BetterUp, thanks to companies such as Coach Hub, I think it's becoming a fairly cost-effective approach. Point number two is coaching is becoming more and more integrated into formal leadership development programs. So some of the technologies and products that have emerged recently, they clearly understand the fact that coaching is an extremely effective method and it is being used as one of the several methods that enables professionals, managers, and leaders to prepare for bigger jobs and higher roles. So, through this article, Josh argues about the fact that the entire leadership development market is very much ripe for disruption. And I completely agree. I agree that the market is ripe for disruption, no question about it. But I do not agree on how he is visualizing this disruption. It is very possible that these new generation technology companies will grab the market share from all the incumbents and quote unquote old school service providers out there. But I don't think it is highly probable. And I'll explain why. You see, this leadership development space, it's a $24 billion large market or a $16 billion market, depending on whom we speak to. This market, one key characteristic is it's a highly fragmented one. There are very few firms that have a very large leadership development practice. Most of the space is shared by thousands and thousands of firms, service provider firms with a very small to medium sized practice in leadership development. Now, these firms vary from old school leadership workshop delivery firms, leadership workshop facilitators, to those who focus on soft skills such as leadership communication, and to many who focus on executive coaching, some with very focused attention to specific job roles such as sales coaches, or specific industries such as a focus on banking or focus on pharma because of the domain expertise and the industry expertise they bring to the fore. While all of these firms and providers may use old-fashioned methods, they have two things that are very hard to replicate. One, the tacit knowledge of the business, the culture, and the job context of their enterprise clients. Two, the depth of practice and therefore the skills that typically the newly minted executive coaches lack. Now, these are two big things that all of these old school guys have. And these two aspects are held at a very high premium by the enterprises themselves. Now, to top this is the good old inertia of the client stakeholders to tinker with a relationship that has held them in good stead for years. So it will not be very easy for all the new generation tech-based leadership development firms to displace these old school firms. Now remember, I am myself an entrepreneur who is a firm advocate of new generation technology and a firm advocate of the effectiveness of some of these new approaches. But I'm still telling you that it's not going to be an easy shift in this particular market. Now, let us twist this further. What if these old school firms suddenly had access to a technology that gives them ability to take their own programs and morph them to this new age leadership development journeys with online coaching integrated into them? There are now two major, massive and immediate benefits to them. One, they move up in time at warp speed and come to work again. They are fashionable again. One is that. Therefore, they can nullify the challenges posed by the new gen players. Two, their depth in expertise in a narrow field and context that makes them appealing to their existing clients can now also be accessed by more clients, since the technology makes them scalable to a larger portfolio of clients. So there are two big benefits that they get if suddenly they had access to this technology. Now, where does this twist in the tail leave us? While there are some platform players in the learning content space, and when I say platform players, these are companies that offer their platform for other service providers to put together their learning content on this platform and run programs. There aren't any platform players that I am aware of who are doing this in the online coaching and the leadership development journey space. Now, this is one big reason that Shwetal and I founded NWORX. It's a SaaS platform that's built for the service providers in the leadership development to do most of what these digital products that Josh Bersin speaks about does. The biggest difference is that NWORX as a platform is available for any service providers to use for what purpose? To design and roll out their formal leadership development programs to their clients. This means that each provider can stop worrying about how they can compete with the new gen tech solutions, because overnight they have access to that tech platform. Instead, they can focus on two things. One, enabling their clients whom they have served for years with better designs that integrate online coaching. And two, to expand their services to more clients, since NWORX automates much of what they need to do to manage these formal programs. Obviously, this is the power of digitization. This is something worthwhile thinking about. And I don't think NWORX is going to be the only platform out there. There are going to be more and more platforms available to thousands and thousands of creators who are going to be coming up, establishing their expertise, establishing their ability to add value to specific client segments, specific small segments in this huge market for leadership development and professional development. And I believe this kind of a platform play that enables embedded professional development is the way of the future. So this is really what I wanted to speak to you all about today, folks. I think in the upcoming session, we will dive deeper into what makes this technology possible. So, folks, that's all for today. Signing off from this side, this is Hariraj, CEO at NWORX. Thank you.